Have you ever wondered how close history came to changing forever? What if one fateful moment had altered the course of leaders' lives? In this video, we dive into 10 shocking assassination attempts that rocked history, featuring high-profile figures like Donald Trump, John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Julius Caesar. Join us as we explore these dramatic moments and their impact on world events. Number 10. Donald Trump. During a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, on the evening of July 13th, former President Donald J. Trump was shot in the right ear. A man identified as 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, fired multiple shots toward the stage. One spectator was killed, and 2 others were critically injured. The Secret Service agents quickly responded, killing the shooter. Mr. Trump was immediately rushed off the stage and later pronounced fine. Federal law enforcement officials, including the Attorney General's office and the FBI, are investigating the incident as an assassination attempt and a possible domestic terrorism attack. Number 9. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln became the first U.S. president to be assassinated when John Wilkes Booth shot him on April 14, 1865. Lincoln and his wife Mary Todd Lincoln were attending a special performance of the comedy Our American Cousin at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. After being shot in the back of the head, Lincoln was carried to a house across the street from the theater for medical treatment. He died the next morning. Booth's motivation for the assassination has been linked to Lincoln's support for black rights. 2 years prior, during the Civil War, which was primarily fought over slavery, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. This pivotal document granted freedom to slaves within the Confederacy. Following Lincoln's death, Vice President Andrew Johnson assumed the presidency. Booth was pursued and located hiding in a barn near Bowling Green, Virginia. On April 26, 1865, he was shot and killed by Union soldiers. Number 8. Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria occurred on June 28, 1914, in Sarajevo, Bosnia, then part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Franz Ferdinand, the heir presumptive to the Austro-Hungarian throne, was killed by Gavrilo Princip, a Bosnian Serb nationalist. The event unfolded as Franz Ferdinand and his wife Sophie were touring Sarajevo in a motorcade. Initially, they survived an attempted bombing by another member of the nationalist group, but later they encountered Princip, who shot them both. Franz Ferdinand and Sophie succumbed to their injuries within a short time. The assassination was orchestrated by the Black Hand, a secret Serbian nationalist organization seeking the liberation of South Slavic peoples from Austro-Hungarian rule. The murder of Franz Ferdinand was a catalyst that precipitated the outbreak of World War I. It led to a series of diplomatic conflicts and alliances unraveling, eventually drawing numerous countries into the war, fundamentally reshaping the geopolitical landscape of the 20th century. Number 7. Rafik Hariri. Rafik Hariri, a former Prime Minister of Lebanon, did not die while in office, but his assassination was nonetheless a major shock. Hariri, who served 2 non-consecutive terms from 1992 to 2004, played a crucial role in ending Lebanon's brutal civil war. Despite his resignation in early 2004, he remained a prominent figure. In February 2005, Hariri was killed in a devastating roadside bombing in Beirut. The attack was attributed to members of the Shia Islamist militant group Hezbollah. Hariri's assassination sparked the Cedar Revolution, a wave of protests and demonstrations across Lebanon. These events culminated in significant political change, including the withdrawal of Syrian troops from Lebanon on April 27, 2005. The assassination not only highlighted the ongoing tensions within Lebanon, but also marked a pivotal moment in the country's modern history. Number 6. Vladimir Lenin. Several attempts were made on Vladimir Lenin's life during his leadership, with the most famous occurring on August 30, 1918. Fanya Kaplan, a member of the Socialist Revolutionary Party, shot Lenin twice as he left an arms factory in Moscow. Kaplan fired 3 shots with an FN M1900 pistol. 1 bullet passed through Lenin's coat, while the other 2 struck him, causing serious injuries but not killing him. Lenin survived the attack, which led to severe reprisals by the Bolsheviks against the socialist revolutionaries and other political opponents. This attempt on Lenin's life was part of a broader context of political turmoil and violence during the Russian Revolution. Earlier in January 1918, an unsuccessful assassination attempt took place in Petrograd. Fears of an expected German offensive led to the Bolsheviks to move the capital from Petrograd to Moscow in March 1918. These events underscored the chaotic and dangerous environment of the time. Number 5. Fidel Castro. The United States Central Intelligence Agency made numerous unsuccessful attempts to assassinate Cuban leader Fidel Castro, spanning several phases and involving cooperation with Cuban exiles. The 1975 Church Committee documented 8 proven CIA assassination attempts between 1960 and 1965. Remarkably, Castro survived over 600 assassination plots and other efforts to end his political career. One bizarre attempt involved spraying a chemical similar to LSD in the air of a room where Castro would broadcast, aiming to make him lose composure while on air. Other plots included poisoned cigars, an exploding seashell, and a contaminated diving suit. Despite these efforts, Castro remained a resilient figure in history. Number 4. John F. Kennedy. On November 22, 1963, John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, was fatally shot while riding in a motorcade through Dallas, Texas. The accused shooter, Lee Harvey Oswald, was a former U.S. Marine who had adopted Marxist views and previously defected to the Soviet Union. Oswald never faced trial, as he was shot and killed by Jack Ruby, a distressed Dallas nightclub owner, during his transfer from custody. From the outset, many Americans suspected that Kennedy's assassination was part of a larger conspiracy, despite the Warren Commission's 1964 findings. Established by President Lyndon B. Johnson, the commission concluded that Oswald acted alone. Nevertheless, the details of Kennedy's assassination have continued to fuel widespread speculation and debate. Number 3. Mahatma Gandhi. On January 30, 1948, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was assassinated at age 78 in the Birla House compound, now Gandhi Smriti, in New Delhi. His assassin, Nathuram Godse, was a Hindutva activist from Pune, Maharashtra, associated with the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, or the RSS, and the Hindu Mahasabha. Witnesses reported that after 5 p.m., Gandhi had reached the top of the steps leading to the raised lawn behind Birla House, where he held daily multi-faith prayer meetings. As Gandhi approached the dais, Godse emerged from the crowd and shot him 3 times at point-blank range. Gandhi collapsed and was carried back to his room, where a representative later announced his death. Godse was apprehended by the crowd, including Herbert Rainer Jr., a U.S. vice consul, and handed over to the police. The trial held at Delhi's Red Fort quickly convicted Godse and his co-defendants. On November 8, 1949, Godse and Narayan Apte were sentenced to death, and despite appeals from Gandhi's sons, the sentences were carried out on November 15, 1949, in Ambala Jail. Number 2. Robert F. Kennedy. On June 5, 1968, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, a prominent candidate in the 1968 Democratic presidential primaries, was fatally shot by Sirhan Sirhan at the Ambassador Hotel in Los Angeles, California. Kennedy had just achieved significant victories in the California and South Dakota primaries on June 4th and had addressed his supporters in the hotel's embassy ballroom. Following his speech, he exited the ballroom and began walking through a kitchen hallway, where Sirhan Sirhan, a Palestinian with vehement anti-Zionist and pro-Palestinian views, shot him multiple times. Kennedy was rushed to Good Samaritan Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries nearly 25 hours later. He was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery, where his grave remains a place of remembrance. Sirhan Sirhan, who admitted to the killing, claimed in 1969 that he had acted with 20 years of malice aforethought. Initially sentenced to death, Sirhan's sentence was commuted to life in prison with the possibility of parole in 1972 due to the California Supreme Court's decision in People v. Anderson. Despite numerous parole hearings, Sirhan has continually been denied release. Kennedy's assassination had profound implications. It led to the establishment of Secret Service protection for presidential candidates and spurred numerous conspiracy theories. His murder was the last in a series of 4 major political assassinations in the United States during the tumultuous 1960s. And number 1, Julius Caesar. On March 15th, 44 BC, known as the Ides of March, Julius Caesar was assassinated by a faction of Roman senators during a Senate meeting held at the Curia of Pompey within the Theater of Pompey in Rome. The conspirators, numbering between 60 and 70, brutally stabbed Caesar 23 times. This drastic action was motivated by their belief that Caesar's unprecedented accumulation of power as a dictator was threatening the traditional Roman Republic. The conspiracy was spearheaded by key figures including Marcus Junius Brutus, Gaius Cassius, Longinus, and Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus. Despite their efforts, the assassination did not succeed in restoring the Republic's institutions. Instead, Caesar's death triggered a series of events that led to his deification, a civil war known as the Liberator Civil War, and eventually the rise of the Principate, marking the beginning of the Roman Empire's imperial phase. Thanks for watching our video on 10 shocking assassination attempts that rocked history. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. See you next time.